So I walked onto this piece of land and I don't know how to exactly explain the feeling. And I had been praying about it, to be quite honest with you, as far as, hey, I'm gonna need some help. Well, it's time for the good news share, I guess. I haven't been putting it into some of the videos. I've been waiting. These pieces that we've been working on, these are my last two. I did not show them being made. This one still needs its glaze. It is the hummingbird one, another hummingbird one. And then this one, I did get the glaze on. So this is a new one. Kind of see it there. A new raven piece with the dogwood flowers. And this time I decided to, like one of my first frame pieces, I went ahead and painted them instead of doing them all in gold, like the dogwoods on this one. So this was today's two projects. Again, this one still needs to be glazed on the painting. So the good news, I don't even know if it's really worth it to share yet, because I'm going to be actually doing the artwork for a couple months at least, to increase my inventory back up with the artwork. Because if you are familiar with me, maybe you're not, just came across this channel. My name is Artettina. The channel's name is The Impromptu Life. It's basically an artist vlog style, everything that I'm creating and what's going on. And for many years, as some of you may know who have watched my videos once in a while, I have been looking for many years for a farm, for a lot, for something that somewhere I want to live, in a climate that I want to live. And so I was trying to be very picky, narrowed it down to a few states, and I had to eliminate states that were just too far away from my family. Of course, I did find, and I also needed it to be very lax. I needed very specific types of zoning. You might already know that from some of the videos. And then I got to the point where I just stopped talking about it, because it's been years in research and looking, and it just was quite a bit. Anyway, I did find something, and I think I hinted at it a little bit in a couple of videos, but I didn't want to, this has just been so long in the waiting, and I was very, very excited. I found a piece of land. I drove around and I wasn't really feeling it with any of the other pieces. The dirt roads were way too rough going at a distance. I did share a couple of those videos, and you can find those videos on my channel. And if you do love this kind of artwork, I also have watercolors. I need to get my sculptures back into the stores. It should be in the description link below if you love original one-of-a-kind pieces of art, handmade by myself. So I walked onto this piece of land and don't know how to exactly explain the feeling. And I had been praying about it, to be quite honest with you, as far as, hey, I'm gonna need some help, because I'm just stuck and nothing's fitting exactly. This was way more, the piece of land was way more than I wanted to or even could spend at the time. So I went ahead and I decided to put in a really low offer. And I knew technically it was a really low offer. And I'm kind of expecting them maybe not to respond, but at the same time, to just decline. But at the same time, maybe they countered, and they countered. And then I had to just kind of do the math on it. And I felt like, versus other pieces around there and how much other pieces were selling for, how much per acre, I felt like it was really, really fair price counter, really fair counter. So I went ahead and we got under contract, and it was kind of a birthday present for me too, as I closed. So I now have some land, more than I had planned on paying. Used some of the money. It took some shuffling in my brain. Make a long story short, I am now having to sell as much art as possible and make as much art as possible. Like I said, it was more than I wanted to. I wanted to be able to lock something up and immediately put in septic. And I realized I was just gonna have to bend my, my obsession with doing it one way. I was going to have to be more malleable. To get the job done, I'm going to have to find another way of doing it. I decided I was going to wait on the septic. Now I'm just going to sell as much art as possible. This is a day at a time thing. I don't know how long that's going to take, that I'm going to be able to get the money for the septic. It may even get to this may be a situation where I'm able to get my perk and my permits, and that I might have to maybe go get my tanks myself. I don't know. I don't know. I'm watching a lot of videos of people who put in their own septic. I do need a certain size. So I'm so super excited. I'm talking a lot about doing the food forest and moving all my plants out there. And then I had to get rid of a lot of my plant collection on one of my last moves. And then we ended up, it was just so much. I just stopped sharing. And you can see that in this huge hiccup of sometimes I load a few videos when I'm doing road trips and when I was looking at land and living in the Honda Element to do that, all of a sudden no videos. So you kind of understand, because I was just at that point working on, making as much money as possible and saving as much money as possible so I could actually do this. And it really took a lot. I got to go into high gear and my inventory was really low. I need to create a lot more inventory and get my 300 to 400 pieces done for this year. The relief of having something locked up that's been a lifelong dream of mine and something that is affordable in the sense that once I'm there and I build my place, or I'm doing an owner builder thing, I'm able to do a lot of it and be creative. And like you guys know, I want to sculpt and create my own house and make it really tight with the whole environment. And I think for years, ideas on how to do that. I may have to change those ideas a little bit as well so I can get there, work on the place. I already know what my schedule is going to be and I'm already training myself for that schedule. Because trying to train my thinking that all I do in the morning is I take care of whatever has to be taken care of here. I do intermittent fasting, and then when 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock around there comes around, I prep food for the 1 o'clock meal with the animals, all that. And after as I'm done eating, it is crank it out stuff. It's the designing, it's getting all my art supplies. It's just art. And then the next morning, usually what's been happening is if I don't get stuff listed that night, the next morning I make sure everything's dry and solid, and then I list for that day as well as morning is for property. And again, I'm not on the actual land yet. It might be making phone calls, making sure, looking into, like for instance, I had to make all the phone calls, make sure everybody got paid, make sure I knew when the bills were due. I don't really have bills down there. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. Just property taxes and an association thing. And that's it. That's one of the reasons why I'm going this route, is so that I can use my art sales to survive. And I do, and I did mention this already in another video, I do want to say again, thank you so much for everybody who is invested in me and who purchases my artwork and who loves my artwork. I cannot tell you how much that actually means to me. It was on me as far as saving every penny that I could have made this dream that I've always had since I was little of having animals in a farm. Having a place that's more like a studio farm, like I can just sit in there and create. I mean, I want the pottery wheel and I just like to create. And you know that if you've seen my artwork, the charcoal pastels and the coffee paintings and the acrylics and oil paintings, which I haven't done those in a while, and I want to have the whole oil thing part set up, and ceramics. And then I've got to finish that 7-foot cat sculpture that's in storage right now. And there's just so many projects. This, I will be able to expand that projects into actually building. Again, just so many ideas in my mind. Again, I'm going to be dividing up my days. I'm kind of a workaholic, so I am so looking forward to it. I can't even tell you. But the first thing we're going to do when we get out there is I got to put a road in, and I will be having videos that I'm posting of that and where we're going to do things and the process. I'll share what the process is that I decide to go with as far as making sure I have my perk and my septic in. It'll be a lot of fun. I of course am doing an unconventional build per se. It's going to be very, very nice and cool, and I'm going to be saving up for that. And as I'm first a little bit before we go, and then as I'm working on it, ways I might have to start and do that were not part of the plan, kind of like how I did this. I'm very, very optimistic. And of course, now I'm even more optimistic. I can't even tell you the feeling of completing something that I have worked so hard. And luckily, the father of my children has been an absolute blessing for making sure that I have a place to live and to stay with them, and so that we can both be here with our daughter, who's our last child, who's now an adult. It's just so I'm just so excited. No matter what happens, I could die happy today, even though I'm not there yet. And yeah, I could just, I cannot explain the feeling exactly, but this has just been a lifelong thing. I'm excited to get back out there. It's just, I know what I need to get done. And right now I got to replace my inventory and just, you know, really focus on amazing art, right? Because I'm doing the things like this that are really difficult or hard to do on the road. So I can still do some of the watercolors and things like that, but I'm doing the stuff that would just be so difficult. As we all know, I have the Honda Element. You can live in a Honda Element. They're basically tents on wheels. They're amazing cars. You can even use them as mini trucks. They're just amazing. Onward and forward, I just wanted to share that with you. I've been waiting to share that with you. Fingers crossed, let's go. This is going to be amazing. Come on the journey with me. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe today if you love this off-grid. It is going to be completely off-grid, and I'm going to have to put up a water catchment system and have water delivered as well. It's going to be a little cray-cray. That's what I like to do. I like to build. I like to build and make stuff. It's going to be able to allow me to just be so creative and do the creative things that I'm just biting at the bit to do and can't do in a rental. Come along for the ride. Let's go do this. Of course, I always love your feedback about things that I'm working on. And here's one of the miniatures. This is the new Raven miniature. I decided to do another Raven miniature to replace the one that just sold. Yeah, and if you, have an amazing day, evening, night. Hope you didn't hear that. And I will chat with you again soon.